Hi, Wildcats. Happy Monday. I hope you had a great weekend. So it's time for problem of the day. So during the first read, I want you to think about, is there an action? So if you remember, over the last 2 weeks, we talked about an action being that a character either gets something or a character loses something. So while I'm reading, you're thinking to yourself, is there an action in this story problem? So let's take a look. Miss Gill had 72 canned goods to donate. Noah had 38 canned goods to donate. How many more canned goods does Miss Gill have to donate than Noah? So while I was reading that story problem, I noticed that Miss Gill didn't get any canned goods. Neither did Noah. So that makes me think that they didn't get anything. And Miss Gill didn't lose any canned goods, and neither did Noah. So that makes me think that there was no action. There was. So now, being that there's no action, I'm thinking to myself, what's the relationship between the number 72 and between the number 38? I'm going to read it one more time, and I'm thinking to myself, is this like a part whole problem, or is this a compare problem? Miss Gill had 72 canned goods to donate. Noah had 38 canned goods to donate. How many more canned goods does Miss Gill have to donate than Noah? This is one of those tricky problems, but there are some key words in this story problem that make me think that this is not necessarily a part whole problem, but it's more of a compare problem. And when I say compare, I mean that there is one character that has more, there is one character that has less, and we might need to be able to find the difference, the extra, the what's in between. So I'm going to read it one more time, and I'm thinking to myself, who has more, which character has more, and which character has less? So I'm going to read it and mark it up at the same time. Miss Gill had 72 canned goods. Noah had 38 canned goods. How many more canned goods does Miss Gill have to donate than Noah? Definitely a compare problem. My first question I'm thinking to myself is, who are my characters? My first character is Miss Gill. My second character is Noah. And so I want to think to myself, after I think who are my characters, my next question is, who has more and who has less? And my story problem pretty much gives me this information. Miss Gill has 72 canned goods. Noah had 38 canned goods. How many more? Okay, great. So let me see who has more. It seems like Miss Gill has more because she has 72, and Noah has less because he has 38. So 72 is greater than 38. And so I need to figure out what's the difference or what's the extra. So I'm going to draw a little graph here. So I'm going to draw what's called like a little bar graph, and I'm trying to figure out what's the extra. So I know who has more, and the person that has more is Miss Gill. And she has 72. And then I know Noah has less, and he has 38. And so what I'm trying to do is figure out this extra piece right here. Here's 72 for Miss Gill. Here's 38 for Noah. And I'm trying to figure out this extra piece right here. So if this is my picture, I want to think to myself, how can I plug this into my part whole box? When I look at 72 and I look at 38, what do you think 72 represents and what do you think 38 represents? 38 is definitely the bigger number, so that makes me think 38 represents my whole. 38 makes up a part of 72. So that makes me think that 38 represents my part. So now, if I know my whole and I know my part, what number sentence do you think I should write that matches this story problem? I know my whole, I know my part. So that makes me think that my number sentence should probably be 72 minus 38 equals And if I were to plug it into my part whole box, I know that in subtraction, we start with the whole, take away a part, and we get the other part. So 72 then, I'm taking a look at my sign. 72 represents my whole. 38 represents my part. And I'm looking for the other part. So if I plug it into my part whole box, 72 represents my whole, and 38 represents my part. Now it looks like I'm ready to solve. And so let me show you this picture again. It's a compare problem. So in a compare problem, we always know, not always know, we usually look to figure out who has more, who has less, and what's the difference. So in this problem, Miss Gill has more because she has 72 canned goods. Noah has less because he has 38 canned goods. And the question is asking us, if Miss Gill has more, how much more does she have compared to Noah? And so we're figuring out this part, this missing part right here. So I plugged in those values in my number sentence, 72 minus 38 equals and then I plugged it into my part whole box. Now it's time for you to go to work. You have about 6 minutes to go to work and to solve this story problem. Parents, please pause the video at this time so that your child can work to solve this problem. Remember to use 2 different strategies. So now, if you solve this problem, the final answer that you should have gotten was 34 more canned goods. And so here are some strategies you could have used in order to solve this story problem. The first strategy I used was counting back because I know my whole and I know a part. So I can start at my whole and I can take away a part. So I conserved, hold it together, I conserved 72 and I took my part of 38. When I took away 38, 72, 62, 52, 42, 41, 40, 39, 38, 37, 36, 35, 34, I got my answer of 34. I'll put it a little bit closer so that you can see. And then a second strategy that I used was counting on. And when I count on, I start at the part and I count until I get to my whole. So if I started at 38 and I keep adding tens, I had 48, 58, 68. I switched to adding my ones, 69, 70, 71, 72. When I count what I put out 34, and that's my other missing part. Over here are number sentences that match my counting back strategy. So I started at my whole of 72. I took away 30, just like I did here. I took away 2 so I can get to my friendly number of 40 because I like working with tens. And then I took away 6 to take away a total of 38, which left me with 34. And then my last number sentence strategy, I started with 38, just like I did over here, and I kept adding tens and ones until I got to 72. So first I started with 38, and then I added my 3 tens, which equals 30 and equals 68. Then, again, I wanted to get to a friendly number. I had 68, I added 2 more, I got to 70. I'm trying to get to 72. 70 plus 2 more equals 72. And when I add the parts that I added to my initial part, 30 plus 2, 32 plus 2 more equals 34.